Hello, welcome to Win Some Loosemore. My name is Dieter and you join me for Why I Like, a series of videos where I take you through some of the games in our collection and tell you why I like them. And today I'll be telling you why I like Rome. Rome is a simple 2 to 4 player area control engine building game from Ryan Lockett and Red Raven Games. He is known for some big adventure games like Near and Far, Above and Below, but he also does some of these smaller ones which he designs and does all the artwork himself. So this was a Kickstarter I found that came this year. I was very intrigued to try it. Let me show you how it works and I'll come back and tell you why I like it. So here I have the game set up for 3 people. We've got the red player, yellow player and green, and we start with 6 of the stack of cards. There's lots of them. Out as our map. You put the scrolls on the outside just so that the grid is formed more completely. Each of these, it has a beautiful artwork of a different terrain on the background, and then has a few pieces of information, how many points it's going to be worth at the end of the game. This one too. The shape it's going to give you, that will make sense in a minute, and the grid with possible coins on it. So to set up, we've shuffled those, we've dealt those out. Everybody gets their starting people in their own color, but all of the cards are basically the same, so we all have the same starting powers. I have shuffled and dealt out 3 player aids, and we're going to flip those over now because one of them has the words first player at the top, which is the yellow player this time. So they will go first, which means I as the second player start with 1 coin, a frog, and so does third player. If there was a 4th player, they would start with 2. We've also shuffled and dealt out what are called artifacts. These 2 have some information. They cost some coins and they will give you points at the end, and there is a power in the middle. I'll explain some of those as we go along. A turn is incredibly simple. As I say, you start with your 3 powers, your 3 shapes, and all you do on your turn, your player aid is very helpfully telling you what to do. If you have no face-up cards, you flip them all face up. That's nice and easy, and then you get to use one of them. So yellow, let's say, is going to play this one here, so they flip it over, and then looking at the shape at the bottom, which is an L shape, they take the corresponding number of tokens, so 3 in this case, and place them out in the grid in that shape. Now it must be that rotation. It's very important which side of the board you're coming from because it will affect how you lay it. So for me, my L shape would be like this, but for yellow, they're doing this. So they're going to want to see, to begin with, maybe getting coins, that putting it like this is going to be good. So now she has some influence over 2 of the cards. And a 3-point one there as well, and then any coins you've covered over, so 1 there and 2 there, you get to take that number of coins from the bank. So they've now got 3 coins, and now as an extra part of their turn they may choose to buy an artifact. There is one that only costs 3, but they're not going to buy it at this point. So it's now red's turn. They're looking around saying where do they want to go. They're going to use this one, forgive my arm being in the way, which is a diagonal. So they are again going to look, they want to focus on 1 card. Again, they get 3 coins for that, and they now have 4 coins, but they're going to wait as well. I am going to do my L-shaped one, to do 1, 2, 3, and again I get 3 coins for that. Now I am going to spend it, so I'm going to spend the 3 as the optional second part of my turn and buy this artifact. At the end of the game it's going to be worth a point for me, but it also has a power and acts like one of my cards on my turn, not this one, but in the future I can also flip this to activate its power. There are a few different powers that come. I will explain some of them as we go. The one I've just picked up, if I flip it, I just get a coin. But I don't want to do that right now. So it's back to yellow. Now they have a choice. They can either just use another card as normal, or if they want to I said if all of their cards were face down, they would get to refresh, flip them all face up for free. They're not in that situation. What they can do is choose to pay to refresh. It's so-called an early rest, and you could pay to refresh your cards, but you pay the amount of face-up cards there are. So right now, it would cost, oops, sorry, I should have flipped out another one here. It would cost them 2 coins just to get this one back. Probably not worth it. They are going to use this one. Now this, we all have one of these to start, has a slightly different pattern. Hopefully that's focusing. It's got a solid one and then a dotted line. That means you get to place your 1 as normal. There's no double coins left, so let's say they go there. You can choose to pay 2 coins to fill in the blank on that card. Now there are artifacts, there's in fact 2 of them out, which mean you get to fill one for free if you flip it over. But right now they don't have that, so do they want to pay 2 coins to gain 1 more coin? No, probably not. They covered 1, they're going to gain another 1, they have 4, that's good. When choosing which card and your placement, not only does it have to be the orientation that your card is, again, in the artifacts, there's a power that allows you to change a card's rotation. You must also stay within the grid. If red decided to play their L-shaped one, they could not do it here because that would go off the board. If, however, they chose to do the one with the dotted line, they could fill this one in. Dotted lines can hang off, so that would be okay. But that would be a waste. They are going to use their L-shaped one to gain 1, 2, 3 here, which gained them 2 coins, and they now have 6 coins. They are going to spend 5. The more expensive an artifact is, the more points it's worth at the end. So my 3 cost one is going to give me 1 point. They're buying a 5 cost one, which will give them 2 points. Now in the future, if they choose to use this, it is a little attack symbol. They could replace one of an opponent's token with one of theirs to use their power. And then, oh, which one did they use? They used this, sorry. Really not keeping up with it. A new artifact comes out. Oh, lots of the filling in the blanks for free. I am going to... not many coins left. Now, although filled in blocks can't hang off, you can go where somebody else is, you just don't place your blocks. So for instance, I'm using my 2 diagonal ones, so I'm going to put 1 there, and I would, if it was empty, put 1 there, but I don't because there's somebody already there. There is a variant within the rules that says you can stack. I don't tend to play with that one, so I get 1 coin for that. I'm going to flip my artifact to gain another coin, and then I'm going to spend my 3 coins to get another artifact. This costs me 3 coins, gives me 1 point at the end of the game, and allows me to fill in a blank for free, so that would be good. Now, do they want to pay a coin? No, because this is perfect now. They are going to activate this person and fill in. They might not choose to do this because look, it's gained them no coins, but it has filled this entire card. Now a card is filled, it scores, it gets removed, and we look at who has the majority. In this case it is the red, so the red player, usually Kirsty, is going to gain this card. If we flip it over, we're going to see a brand new character and a new shape that you can lay in, and then usually some little text at the top. So Mindclaw was yelling out mathematical equations, just a nice silly thing. He looks scary and demonic, but he's just shouting out maths. It's a fun thing. And so this joins face up, ready to be used, red's thing. They get theirs back. Now because yellow and green helped fill that one, there's some positive player action. No, we don't get the card. No, we're not going to get however many points that was worth, I think 2 at the end of the game. We get 1 coin each just for helping. Isn't that nice? And now yellow has 5, So they're going to spend 5 to gain. This is one of the ones I mentioned that has the rotate your shape, and we get our tokens back, and we bring out the new card. Now we could see what this was before. That's okay. Some people have it turned up the other way, but the rules do say to have it landscape. Yes, the landscape side up. And so now it's the Reds' turn. They now can't afford to refresh because they have too many. And so I'm not going to go beyond that because I think I've covered all the basic things. There might be a couple of other things that come up as we go along, like this, in fact, perfect timing. This is one of my favorite powers on an artifact. If you flip this, you get to turn one of your cards face up or face down. Now there's a very particular thing in the rules that says, let's just cheat, let's just skip their turn, let's just say I have this and that it's my turn. If I said I could do an early rest, that would cost me 1 coin to get all of these back. I have 1 coin, but if before I do any of that I choose to, I could use this just to bring one of them back because I specifically want to use that card, or I could flip it to flip this remaining face up one face down. And now at the beginning of my turn, before I've used a card, I have no face up cards. So that triggers an immediate refresh and I get all of my artifacts back as well. So that's one of my favorite ones, being able to flip a card either face up or face down. And again, that would be worth a point at the end. What are the other ones? There is one other power where you get to move somebody else's cube, their little block, before you place yours. So if I had one, I don't, I can move that out the way so that that's still available for me to cover. And so on we go. If ever, again, let's just cheat for the sake of example, we are tied when a card triggers. The people that have tied, so if red had 1, excuse me, if there was 4 players, say, and we had 2 each here and then a red and a blue, they would just get their coin each. The 2 people tied, so yellow and green, then get to bid. Whoever triggered its completion, so let's say it was green, I get to bid. I have to bid at least 1, and so I'm going to bid 1. That's what I'm going to do. And now yellow has the opportunity to outbid me or pass. If they pass, I get it, but I've spent the coin and they're going to gain a coin for helping. If they outbid me, they get it, they spend their coins, I get a coin for helping. Now in this case, I bid 1, because you have to bid a minimum of 1. They cannot beat me, they have no coins, so I would spend my 1. I would gain this card, they get that back, they get a coin for helping, because aren't they nice? And now I get a new character. So I've cheated a little bit just so you can see. What's he called? Martimus was making a stew from a pile of ancient lectures. Doesn't even make sense, but makes me smile. We get a new card coming out. Now these cards, once somebody has 10 of them, including their starting 3, so when we've bought 7, we then finish the round. Again, we know who start player was, so we finish the round. Everybody after that person gets an extra turn. And then we score points. We flip over all the people we've bought to show their points. We would count up points on artifacts, points on cards. Whoever has the most points wins. If there's a tiebreaker, it's coins. So why do I like Rome? I will start at my usual starting point with the visuals. And this art style, Ryan Lockett's art style, is beautiful. It's lovely. It's just a very engaging, light-hearted world that draws me in, that it's almost washy-brushy in its style. I'm not good at art vocabulary. Just makes it really, it's silly to say non-threatening, but just comfortable and warm and inviting and almost ethereal, because it's so undefined edges type thing, but at the same time all the colors used in this, the palette is very earthy, and so that balance together just makes this, to say, really warm and inviting, and just a lot of fun. And then that combined with the flavor text that comes on the cards, it's fun gaining a new card to see who you've got and then reading the little thing about them, so it just creates this very whimsical nature. to the game, this feeling that's very inviting and easy to get people involved in. Yes, it's an abstract game, really. You're putting down cubes, or their search markers, whatever. You're putting down your tokens and majority. It's that, but the people and the words that they use with them and the colours and everything just invite you into this world, so that it stops feeling a little bit like an abstract game and just, yeah, it's just a lovely place to explore. Now, this is based in one of the worlds he'd previously created, I believe Near and Far. Correct me in the comments, but I believe Near and Far is where this is set, that world. And so some of these characters might be familiar to you. Certainly the races probably will be. I don't know, I've not played it, I'd really like to, but I thought I'd start with a smaller one to see how I get on with it. And generally, so that's aesthetics. Generally, I don't like area control games. They seem a bit dull to me, usually, unless they've got something interesting about them. So Small World breaks that rule because it's not end game area control, it's mini incursions and you know, skirmishing for a couple of rounds and then going into decline. And so this is very similar. So mechanically, I really enjoy this because of its engine building element. It's one of my favorite types of engine building, in that at the beginning I have 2 or 3 actions available to me, and then because of what I do throughout the game, I gain more. It's not necessarily that my actions get better. I enjoy that form too. That's typically in bigger board games, but in the smaller ones like this, and Century Spice Road is another good one for that, you gain new abilities, you gain new cards, which are just variations on the theme. You're still doing similar stuff, but now you can do something that your opponents can't and never will. That's really good for me. I really enjoy that. And then the doubled up benefit for me in that, yes, I'm doing that engine building, but that engine building is because the board is ever changing. That card has gone away, and so although I was straddled across 3 or 4 different cards, all of a sudden I've got to restart on a brand new one, and my opponent might get all the coins off that, and it adds a nice level of tension. It's short enough, it's tactical enough that it doesn't feel like a long drawn out boring. I apologize if you like area control games. I'm sure the more I play of this type, it will lead me into that kind of way of thinking, but right now I'm used to things like Risk, which are like, oh, and just quite punishing and long. But this is light and fun and fast, and so maybe I'm wrong. I probably am. I need to play more to figure it out. But this one really has endeared me towards them, and particularly to try out more Ryan Lockett games. He's done a wide range of different mechanism types. So yeah, visually lovely. Core mechanics are some of my favorite ones. As I say, that card thing to build it up, that your gaining of abilities is also the endgame trigger is a nice thing, so it's always going to be short. But the thing that makes this game so playable for us, so enjoyable for us, are the artifacts. They, for some reason in the rulebook, they're almost listed as an optional thing. We don't know why. Here's the normal game, just getting the cards. If you're happy with that, add the artifacts. No, just use the artifacts. They make the game, they really do. Firstly, what they're called in the pictures are just funny, same as the cards. But that they provide now a second perfectly valid way to win is great. You're now thinking more economically with your coins and going, it's not just now for bidding on tiles, if you're on cards if you're drawn, but now do I buy this cheap one which only gives me a couple of points now because I want that action, or do I wait and save up and buy a more expensive one to give me more points, but in the meantime my opponent may have done other things and I'm behind. And so there's just an added layer of thinking that just brings this up massively. I really can't stress enough how much you should just use the artifacts from the beginning. Never play without them. Maybe if you're playing with children, young children, I don't know, but I can't see a reason not to. It provides, let's say, 2 ways. We've had it many times when one person's racing to 10 cards, one person's doing the economic route, and it's within a couple of points at the end because they're equally valid. And so it's just a brilliant combination of simple mechanisms, a whimsical world, beautiful artwork, and lovely pieces. I mean, I prefer the flat tokens to cubes. They could have just been cubes. Obviously, it could be something else. It could have been something more, but this, it keeps the price point down. It's just a flat thing. Yeah, maybe meeples, but then that draws you out of the kind of races and characters that you discover along the way in the cards. So I like that it's the flat tokens. I know some people don't. Yes, I got the metal coins. The metal coins just add some kind of tactile experience that cardboard just can't. But the cardboard ones are nice as well. They're differentiated into 1s and 5s. So they work, and they're in that same palette, so they're nice. Coppers and silvers, they work. I just like the metal ones, but you don't need them. So really, I can't really say anything wrong about this. Sometimes I'll tell you I like something overall, but here's a couple of other things. The weird quibble is, why aren't the artifacts just stated as the main game? They kind of are, but kind of say play without them first. Never play without them. That's the only thing. It's just that one sentence in the rulebook. Rome, excellent. Even more excited to try the Ryan Lockett games. Beautiful artwork, very immersed in the world. Rome. Cool. That's why I like it. Thank you very much for watching. You can follow us on social media. We're about on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon so you stay updated when we put out new videos. I'll be doing more why I likes as the weeks go on. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope to see you again. I've been Dieter for Win Some, Lose More. Goodbye.